Hank Williams, Sr. in the building. Dominique Williams in the building. Team Tobias. But I'm so glad to have you guys here. Trust me, it's so great to have you guys on this podcast, on this show, and everything. So before we even get into the whole logistics of Lawrence Woodmere and everything, I just want you guys to say your names, your backgrounds. Hank Sr. go first, Dominique, you go second, and just rock and roll for there. Let the world know.
Yeah, thanks so much, Wavy, for having me.
Indeed.
I remember us playing on the court over at Hempstead Middle School.
Wow.
And, I was principal, but I was playing then. I don't play no more.
I wasn't as good as Joe Pope, but I was okay.
You was close. And,
no. But, no way. Well, I was okay.
Yeah. I had a chance to retire, from the Hempstead School District. Took on the Woodmere Academy project as a head of school, head basketball coach. I'm from Long Island. Went to Malvern High School. All Long Island selection. Played at New York Tech Division II. All Metropolitan. So, again, I'm just glad to be here and part of this and represent Long Island the right way.
Absolutely, Dominique. Same thing for you, and your name there, Arjun, and they already see what's going on with Team Tobias.
Yes, sir.
You with the right program with the ATM working right. I promise you. So just let them know, Mr. Dom.
Yeah, Dominique Williams, son to the OG over here, Hank, former assistant coach for Lawrence Woodmere, manager for Team Tobias, junior EYBL, owner of Skillmatic Basketball, product of Jerry Powell, my man JP.
Yes, Jerry Powell, one of the most dynamic trainers in the
Legendary.
stratosphere, honest to God, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
just advocate in the basketball community, youth to professional levels.
Absolutely. And we have to give a great shout out to B Will, the Chico, Brandon,
The bro.
JV. Is he the head coach now there?
The head coach at Garden City JV, yep.
That such a great acclamation for him to get. You guys are always students of the game and professors and teachers of the game for what they do. So I know he's going to be so great there for everything that happened after Lawrence Woodmere. But explain what in the last year you guys were at Lawrence Woodmere. So many great things going on. Tiny was down there. You guys had the national team, the regional team. So many good coaches. Kenny Satterfield and so on and so forth. And I'm pretty sure Joe Pope. I mean, we already know Kenny Satterfield, how dynamic of a player he was. Cincinnati University. But just speak about Lawrence Woodmere. The last year you guys had Anderson Diaz, him moving on and so on and so forth. So just talk about the start, the origin, and even the ending. If there's too much that you can't say, that's no problem, but just explain what happened with Lawrence Woodmere.
Right. No, I appreciate that. I came in as the head basketball coach. Was still administrator in Hempstead, so it was right before I retired.
Indeed.
Once I retired, the head of school at the time said I have a principal slot. So I went in as a head coach and principal at Lawrence Woodmere Academy.
Okay.
Didn't recruit my first year, just kind of feeling it out, see what they got. Had some decent talent. It was like a little after COVID, so it was tight. And then the following year, I was able to recruit. So I got a couple of players. Got the big boy, Caleb.
Absolutely.
Got S1 from Africa. Plus my son, played very well, Hank Williams Jr., and wound up winning the PSAA championship.
Absolutely.
After that chip, I didn't really feel it because the league wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted to really get the school's name out there to the world, especially
Indeed.
to New York State and beyond. And so I sat down with Kenny Satterfield, sat down with Coach Tiny Morton, and said, hey, you know what? Let's do a national team, a national team, a regular team, and then a post-grad team. And through that collaboration, we were able to bring in more talent.
Absolutely.
Especially Anderson Diaz, which was a great find. And they did exactly what I wanted them to do, bring national attention to the school, and then also help with our enrollment. However, we needed at least 220 students just to break even, and we got to about 177. So we were well shy of what we needed, and then therefore caused the school to pause, which we are on right now, what they call a pause, because if we get the right investors and the right folks to get involved, we could bring it back for 26, 27, which would be a little different than what we had, but nonetheless, trying to bring that basketball back to Woodmere Academy.
Yeah, and before we even transition to Dominique, in a catastrophic world, if that did work out, I mean, how do you reshuffle? And I mean,
Got to start from
Anderson
scratch.
Diaz is, and I seen Troy Faison Jr. at DME, and there's so many,
A lot of
good
talent.
players. There's so many good players. You had 7-footers from every.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you want.
Right.
You'd want it to come back.
Right.
But I mean, how would you reshuffle? What would you do from there? We talk so much about.
You got to slowly bring it back. I think that if you just slowly bring it back, especially with the right investors involved, you can get close to what you need. And that's kind of
Absolutely.
my vision. There's a lot of talent out there, a lot of upcoming talent, young talent. And so if you do the right recruiting, you get the right pieces, to attract kids to your school, we could do what we did before, probably even better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And hey, listen, Dominique, another part of that Williams connection, the oldest
Yes, sir.
of the brother crew, right? The oldest one here in the building,
oldest of six.
and you got the right logo on right there, and we got Joe Pope in the building, who's always about the culture and the kids, but we're always also about capitalism as well with Team Tobias. Boy, all them sessions and all them workouts, you guys got so many different age groups, 9 and under, 10 and under, 11 and under, even the high school and the middle school division. Just tell me about, how your transition. I know you've been doing so much with Lawrence Woodmere, and, after that big transition now with Team Tobias, you've always been doing so much work with that. We see each other in the gym at the 5 a.m. Brotherhood and what you guys are doing there. So just tell me, let the public know as well, too, of course, your basketball background as well and your contributions, with Team Tobias, and how we can definitely get that eventually with Ballin for Peace.
Yeah. Also a graduate of Malvern High School. Played in a state runner-up team, 2021.
Not the mules, the Malvern life, boy, right down that road, right?
Yeah. And then went on to college at Seton University. Started working for my guy, Steve Cronin, for a sports agency a couple days a week. And then got into private coaching with Jerry. Did that full-time eventually.
Jerry Powell.
My man, Jerry Powell. Yep. Ended up moving to Michigan. Was granted an opportunity to, coach and work at a private school out there. One of the top programs in the country, as well as assistant to player development for the Cleveland Cavaliers World Championship team.
Wow. LeBron, right? I mean, because we ain't none of us been alive except for Heck and Joe Pope, who is 75 years old. I'm sorry, Joe. That's the only joke I can get. Because, boy, wait. Wow. On the,
Yeah, my guy
yes, he
AJ.
was. Yes,
My guy
AJ as
was
well.
with
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So on that championship, Cavaliers, 3 games to 1. Continue.
Yeah. Ended up moving back home. Spoke to Pops about coming back home and helping out with the Lawrence Woodmere program and doing my thing here with my Skillmatic company.
Absolutely.
And then eventually we, 2 years ago, started the Team Tobias, junior UIBL. Tobias and his godbrother Marcus, my man Marcus from Bayshore, gave me a call, told me they wanted to start it up. Got some young guys together, and now we have a solid group of 11, 12, and 13U boys. Some of the best players in the state, some of the best players in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, you know what? And as you guys got so many age groups and divisions. Basketball is so hard to teach on all levels. What age groups do you feel is more? You have 9 under, you have 10 and under, you have high school, you have middle school. Pro-am can be so difficult sometimes because sometimes it's hard to really teach the pro-am guys. They think they all know it, and they're getting paid and so on and so forth. But as you guys have this program, what age group is more better for you to educate at?
Yeah, I think it's easiest between the 9U up until about 13U to really start implementing.
They're still sponges.
Yeah, they're still sponges. They're willing to process and really soak in all the information. You can set the foundation very easily with that group. Once they get to about 13 and 16, adolescence starts to hit and society and everything starts to seep in. It becomes a little more difficult to get through. But usually the ones that are locked in and serious, they can detect the coaches that are also sincere.
Yes, indeed. We got to get you definitely. I think we're going to be at Bayside when this. We got to get Team Tobias out there. That'd be nice. We have the middle school division. and the high school division. And we was just at Queens College this weekend where they had so many high school programs.
Yeah.
What I gotta make sure I put this on camera too. My guy from Ward Melville
There we go.
made this Tim. You know Timmy?
Yeah, I know Tim.
Tim made this
My guy.
sweater for me right here, so I thought this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The kids came out and he loved it at Queens College because Ward Melville, a Suffolk County school, sometimes they don't get that. You know, Joe, you know that you when you play basketball. When I say go to the trenches, I ain't just saying go to the hood everywhere. Like, you got to play basketball everywhere, really, to get you got to play CYO. You got to go to the back block. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get everything to really, I love when I do tournaments, and it's so great. Sometimes we'll do the tournaments in Long Island, and the parents will be there, and they be like, but why are you saying this all the time? Why you do something? I said, but you got to understand, when your kid goes to that D3, D2, D1 school, and 10,000 people telling them he's trash for 25 minutes straight and will not stop telling him, he's got to get used to all environments, because every environment, even with high school basketball, where you schedule opponents sometimes that's not the normal style of basketball brand that you play in your conference, because now when you play in that postseason element, it might not be the same style that you play all the time, and now you have to adjust with it, just like coaches do. You want the players to adjust, right? The coaches got to adjust too. So you put them in all type of terrains. So, explain basically now, your transition, how you think, Brandon's going to do out there as a JV coach at Garden City.
I think Brandon do well. Like I said, he's been coaching for a while. He has great experience. They just won the chip, as the head JV coach of Wavy Academy. He had a bunch of 7th and 8th graders.
Yeah.
Which was a very, very talented group of kids. So I think he knows how to put the talent with the X's and O's. And because of his passion, he knows how to win. So I think he'll do okay. I heard they're pretty decent team, pretty decent group of kids over there.
The Garden City's been changing it.
Yeah.
I've even seen he's got Tristan Wiseman down there, who's a shooter, and they have the I used to call him Sean O'Hara, but Big Paul. Down there they have the head coach too. I got his name James. I don't say nothing wrong. The head coach at for their varsity squad.
Right.
But
I forget his name too.
Garden City's just not known as that rich neighborhood in Long Island no more. They ball for basketball.
Yeah, they playing. They have a good grassroots program, right?
There you go.
Community, and like you said, the CYO and the PAL, and just getting different aspects of the game. And that's one of the reasons why we kind of came out of the PSAA at Wavy Academy, because we won that chip.
Right.
But I wanted the kids to play more competitively.
Correct.
And so that's why we had the national and independent teams, what I was trying to say, because I wanted to play at the highest level of competition for all teams, whether it was the prep team, national team, or independent. And I think that's where the kids can get the most bang for their buck if they're competing at the highest level.
I forgot Lawrence was, remember when Lawrence was there? Or when Irish Hulk?
Yes.
About a few years before, that was a bad boy.
Yes.
That was a bad boy when he was in high school. I said, Lawrence with me. I said, the neighborhood next to Far Rockaway?
Yep.
I said, oh yeah. Remember they got a school out there, but as even after his years, and like you said, Anderson Diaz, you had Troy Faison Jr., you had so many other players that, came to the program.
Kids.
It was
Caleb
just
Popper, Julian DeSay, so many talented kids.
so many good kids
at that school. And now they're all situated at great schools, which, makes me feel good too, that they were able to get into some
Absolutely.
great schools.
Absolutely. And, same thing, Team Tobias, what's the future plans with Tobias down there? Got a lot of zeros that worked in the ATM down there for Tobias and them, and that's what we love. That's what we love. They always criticize, Tobias didn't play good. Yeah, but the ATM worked every 2 weeks, so I know you can say whatever the heck you want about him, but everything is all right.
Family started from the top. Mom and
Absolutely.
Dad set the foundation early, with all of them, about 6 siblings.
Wow.
And 5 of the
Danny,
6.
all of them, yes.
Yeah, went on to play Division I basketball.
Huge.
And professional. The girls too.
Everything is just working out, proper with that program and so on and so forth. And as we get close to the end of everything we're talking about, Hank Williams Jr., Mr. Hot Shot Hank, St. Mary's Manhasset. Now, right, had to make that because he still would have been home, and a lot of good guards from Long Island there. I know Noah Patterson from Freeport went over there. They just had to transfer Maury Tony from Uniondale that went over there too. There's a lot of guards. There's some. What do you think? You coaches from the outside looking in. It's not like you're a part of the program, but but how do you guys feel about what they got going down there for Long Island?
When they told me that Tim Cluse was back over at St. Mary's helping the program.
They don't even know Iona.
Yes, that really weighed in heavy in my decision. Hank wanted to kind of stay local. I really wanted him to get away, to a prep school and just focus on basketball and school only. All right, no other distractions. But he chose St. Mary's. They got a great young coach over there, Paul Tricario, and I think that with the addition of some of those new kids, also with some of the talented guys who were there already, Miles and Justin, they have a chance to be a very, very good team. They have a chance to be solid. We have some students who were supposed to go to Woodmere Academy who transferred over to St. Mary's immediately once they found out that the school wasn't going to open, and they should be able to help the program as well.
Absolutely. And how do you feel about that too? You're like, we talk about the NILs, this college, high school, everything, the game and the logistics and culture. Me and Joe Pope, we're gonna get into that so much into the next segment as well too, with the culture of all realms of basketball. How do you feel about when kids at your program say that I don't want to be here no more, I want to transfer? Like, do you what's your prognosis on that?
The transfer world is scary because they chase, and you really don't want kids to chase, right? You want them to work hard.
Right.
When they chase, they feel like they could just go somewhere else and it's going to be different.
Maybe the grass be greener, quote unquote.
Grass is green on the other side. I talked to a coach yesterday. He called me because a kid transferred out of his school. The kid has been to 5 different schools since high school. And so I thought this was a great fit, for the kid because he's going to start. There's a great coach over there. It's a great program. I'm not going to say the name.
Right, of course.
But the coach was like, hey, the kid decided to leave. And so he went to his 5th school as a senior. And I just get worried. I mean, I think it's necessary at times to transfer, right?
Right, of course.
So I don't want to totally rule it out, but I just think we have to be very careful, and the parents have to be very careful because as a administrator for many years, I always believed in continuity. You're doing the same things, then you have a chance to be successful. So it's a little scary, but I believe in this day and time it might be necessary.
Absolutely. And it's so crazy. Don, we talk about. You said continuity. We're all brothers in this room, and when you say continuity with coaching, I think about guys like what's my gentleman from Pittsburgh, head coach Mike Tomlin. He's been there for a while. You know what I'm saying? And it's this might be orange and apples, but they have on top of an organization that's been consistent. They've kept a consistent guy there. And sometimes you watch, great teams like my New York Giants that are great for my health. Maybe I should move to North Carolina with Joe Pope. So maybe like the Carolina Panthers because but you see consistency and that's also very key, with the kids and coaching and so on and so forth. And Dom, I just, want to get to you with that. With like when, I see many mornings, at that premier gym with you guys working with these kids and, you mentioned, AJ in the Amityville and so on and so forth. What are some of the type of things that you try to implement in these kids, not just, on the basketball court, like off the basketball court? What do they think these coaches and so on and so forth are looking for? And what is the advice and just the whole tutelage that you can, teach and bring to these kids?
Yeah, we try to preach principles in life and bring it on court because of how important it is for them to not only develop as great basketball players, but even more so as young men. Right. Civilized, productive men of society that are going to contribute one day way beyond the court. It's representative of Tobias himself. Tobias is not just a great basketball player; he's a great person.
Absolutely.
He's a businessman, and he comes from that. So he excels in all areas. So we make sure to push that with the boys too. How to conduct themselves, not just after a win, but even more so after a loss.
Absolutely.
Do we stick together, or do we start pointing fingers? When one is not keeping up in practice, or are we, turning a blind eye, or are we motivating and encouraging and pushing our fellow teammates? All of that is important to us across the board.
Absolutely. Now, here goes a big time question for y'all. We're gonna make sure, because heck, and the guys always tell me to get the shock value up. In their prime, who's the best Williams constituent? I mean, you got Papa right here, you got Dominique, you got B. Will and Chico, you got Hot Shot Hank. In their prime, yeah, Papa, you can say what you want to.
Got to go Pops hands down.
In their prime?
In their prime, Pops hands down.
Pops? I ain't got a problem with it because I played against him. I know, and that was the later years, and I still know.
I did too.
I think that might be the easiest thing to do is take the credit for myself.
Yeah, it took me 13 years to finally beat him 1v1.
Jesus Lord, I still haven't. So, but I competed, so I'm fine with it.
We had a lot of fun, Wavy definitely on the basketball court, but they're good kids, right? They played tough, and like he said, it's about the game of life, right? So it's a game of life after this. And that's what you want to prepare your kids for as a dad.
Yeah, even wife, track and field, right?
Double Dutch champion, Maverin, double Dutch champion, but also she's actually coached some of the basketball when I couldn't coach. So she really understands the game. As you see, she's always at the game.
Could you imagine the checkers and the sock hop at the summer cookout between all of them right there? They must have been rolling dice and putting money on the ground, man.
Always at the game.
I'm telling you, man. Listen, we're almost close to the end of it. Ballin for Peace, NYC Elite 32. I expect Team Tobias to be at December at one of the future events in Garden City, JV. Be Will and where I'm gonna work that as well too. NYC Elite 32, I got the Wavy World Pod, Ballin for Peace. Tell me, Dominique, what does peace mean to you?
I think peace
or what is your peace?
My peace is in my faith. I'm a man of faith. I put God first.
Absolutely.
And there's no going wrong there. So that's where my peace comes from.
Indeed.
And
Excellent.
My peace is really it's non-revenge, right? You know what I mean? That's the real peace. So when you could kind of walk away from the drama, then that's the real peace. But if you got to react to everything, then you'll never find peace. So the real peace, because people are going to do what they're going to do. And whether they're doing it on purpose or they're doing it by accident, we have to respond the right way. And that's how you can kind of create peace amongst everyone.
Absolutely, man. That's great right there. This is the last one, the last question right here. So we'll get the drum roll for this a little bit, please. Long Island. Top 5 players you've ever seen in Long Island history. Make sure it's good because H2O going to watch this because Queens is the best borough in the history of basketball.
I have to go with the...
I said it when
You said in the history of Long Island, so you going way back.
Whatever, your top 5.
My top
whether
5.
Street ball, NBA pro, everything. I know you, and you've seen so much.
Listen, if you talk about the history of Long Island, you got to go with people like Wandy Williams. Right, he was my dad. Played for Denver Broncos, All-American football and basketball. Okay. You got to go with Julius Erving. Hello. Right?
I told him.
You got to.
I told him.
You don't have a choice. You got to go with Jim Brown. All right. Hello, Jim Brown, Long Island.
I'm trying to tell you.
And then you could come up to, I would say, man, that's tough. In this era, you can right now you can say Danny Green and Tobias Harris. Those two.
You got the AJ in there.
And it's fine.
AJ Price.
AJ Price.
I don't know if he went as far as those two, but
I do Mike James, the Amityville Horror Show, and they tried to kill me, and I try to tell them that
Speedy Claxton
that was a bad man. Yeah.
Speedy's from Hempstead. Jason Frazier.
Yeah, I told him Two Holloway in my eyes is
Holloway.
but it depends. Eric Ferguson. There was a lot of East Star. There was a lot of really good players to come out
Morgan
of
Scott. I mean, there's a lot of great talent coming out of Long Island, so it's a
Absolutely.
very tough conversation.
Oh, Wally Zerbiak is from Long Island. I thought that was me.
There's another one,
right?
Cold Spring Harbor.
Bill Wennington from Long Island?
I don't think so.
What's Chi-Town? I thought
He's Queens.
I thought that. Is it Queens?
Queens, I
You know what I'm
think.
saying? But there's a lot of guys.
A lot of guys. Al Skinner. People don't know that
Tom
name.
Gugliotta.
Tom Gugliotta. You know, so
Bootsy Thornton. Lefty. Which one from Sewanaka? Was that was it?
was it
Yeah, it's
Bootsy?
Bootsy.
Yeah.
Sewanaka.
That's Long Island.
But you know,
we
we're
didn't
continuing.
get to the girls.
Nah, come on, Super.
It's too much to think about.
It's girls all day. Top 5, Long Island. Dom.
Man, you got Salmon Perhalis, Bria Hartley. I mean, just those two alone.
WNBA pros.
Yeah, I mean, serious. You got some tough girls. Sue Bird, tough. Sayasa's finest.
Multiple champion, Olympic.
Yeah, you got Kristen Doherty out of Sachem. I mean, the list goes on and on.
On and on and
Girls that
on.
dominated, and they
Male.
went on to play at a high level.
Male top 5.
Well, more so my area. You got AJ Price. You got Tobias Harris. No bias there. I think Tu Holloway, of course, the bro. You got Jason Frazier. You got did I say AJ already?
Yes.
Danny
yes.
Green.
Danny Green. Danny Green.
Yeah. I would say that's a solid top 5 for me.
Man,
Or
listen,
relative to this era.
absolutely, man. You know the vibe already. Milk and cookies for rookies, coffees and donuts for grown-ups. So you could pay for school, but you can't buy classes. The Williams brothers here, I promise you, man. Listen, heck, put that music on, the Nas Escobar stuff. We got we got the Bronx coming up next. Big Joe Pope, the legend and the veteran. I promise you, victory has 100 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. It's Wavy's World. Lock in.
These world.
Let's get it.
I sip the dog beat, watching Gandhi till I'm charged and writing in my book of rhymes all the words past the mark.